For several months, a female tiger, Cheetah, has been hiding in the shadows. But now, for the first time, she reveals why. The caves have offered shelter for her young family, but nearing 8 weeks old, the cubs are ready to emerge. Her one son, Ojas, named for his strength of character, is the first to leave. He's a mummy's boy and rarely leaves her side. His sisters stick together no matter what. Fearless Abhaya and playful Leela. It's their first time away from the den. As usual, Ojas relishes his mother's attention. Bold Abhaya has a look around. The cubs cause quite a stir in the treetops. Langur monkeys are the bane of a tiger's life. Eye in the sky, they keep all the other forest animals updated with any tiger sightings. Cheetah collects a meal that she's stashed. She hunts mostly at night, but has carried this deer fawn back to give the cubs their first taste of meat. Though she's weaning them off milk, they will still need her to feed them for the next year or so. While his sisters tuck straight in, Ojas takes a bit of persuading to leave Mum and give meat a try. He quickly gives up and goes back to some quality time with Cheetah. Male tiger cubs are often bigger and more independent than their sisters, but not Ojas. He has a long way to go before he'll become a lord of the forest like his father. The tiger family unit consists of mother and cubs. Males play no parental role. Charger is a male in his prime. He's almost 3 times heavier than the average man. Male tigers are solitary wanderers who patrol their territories to keep other males at bay. Several females share his patch, and when the time is right, will mate with him. The rest of the time, Charger prefers his own company. He walks, sleeps, and hunts alone. So Cheetah is left alone to bring up the litter. But she's raised cubs before and knows what she's doing. Abhaya is definitely the strong one in this litter. She hogs the carcass, pushing Leela out of the way. Ojas, though, is an unusually affectionate little male, always wanting contact from his mother. Cheetah notices vultures circling overhead. They have spotted the cubs' lunch. This could spell trouble. Cheetah calmly shows them what to do. First of all, clean up. They need to remove the smell of blood from their fur. The cubs mimic their mother. Then she leads them away quietly. Vultures are like beacons to other predators, telling them that an easy meal lies beneath. Her cubs are still small enough to be threatened by most other hunters, so Cheetah leads them to a new den site. And not a moment too soon. A jackal has followed the birds and steals what's left of the meal. The cubs are being watched by another great hunter of the jungle, a leopard. But as long as they stay close to their mother, the spotted cat wouldn't dare approach. It freezes until they passed. Fearless Abhaya leads her sister on the high road. Ojas, of course, sticks to Mum. She calls them together. For the next few weeks, this will be their new home. Though they are getting a bit big for suckling, Cheetah's a relaxed mother and allows them to quench their thirst. She may later regret making life so easy for these little ones, but for now, she seems content. Cheetah's cubs have been born in the rich forests of central India. The jungle teems with wildlife. And in the dry winter grass, peacocks display. And the ever-watchful langurs forage around grazing deer. There are two kinds of deer: huge majestic sambar and the smaller spotted cheetah. Cheetah and langurs have a very special arrangement and often forage together. Langurs have keen eyesight, and when they are in the trees can spot danger and alert the deer. When the monkeys descend, the deer's keen ears take over to warn the troops. This makes life very difficult for Cheetah as she prepares to hunt. A large sambar would keep her family going for several days. The monkeys spot her and sound the alarm. But for one deer, it's too late. The cubs have been patiently waiting for their mother to hunt. Now Cheetah returns to lead them to the kill. Mother sits back to allow her cubs to eat their fill, though, as usual, Ojas would rather be by her side. Cheetah obviously enjoys the time with her son, and while his sisters feed, he's scrubbed from head to toe. Although Ojas is a true mummy's boy, he does also have an insatiable curiosity and likes to check everything out. He sets off for some monkey watching. He has no chance of catching one, but his game's a good practice. Sooner or later, he will have to learn to hunt for himself. His life will be intertwined with that of the Langur colony. They will be monitoring his every move, and he'll watch theirs, hopeful that they will eventually drop their guard. This little tiger has to learn the biggest skill: to go unseen. He's been born with splendid camouflage. One day he'll be invisible to the creatures of the forest, but now everyone knows where he is. And that's not just a problem with prey. Predators are on the move as well. The Indian python is one of the largest snakes in the world. This female is 12 feet long. She's capable of taking prey as large as a boar or young deer. A tiger cub would go down nicely. The huge python closes in on its prey. She strikes and throws her powerful coils around her victim, suffocating the young monkey. Wisely, the young tiger decides to head home. As always, Ojas is happy to be back with Mother. Plus, milk is much easier and a lot safer to catch than monkeys. The cubs play games that will help build their strength and hone coordination. Though it seems a bit one-sided. Abhaya's the bully, always pushing her siblings around. Leela tries to hold her own in the wrestling match. But Ojas has had enough. The family's restless and thirsty, so Cheetah leads them to drink. Over the coming months, she'll teach the youngsters how to hunt and where to find water. Ojas drinks by Mum, while Abhaya is the cat that walks by herself. Vultures circle over Cheetah's most recent kill, a dinner gong that's soon answered by Charger, the cub's father. Lions are infamous for lazy males cashing in on the female's hard work. But in fact, tigers are very similar. Larger males know they can easily steal a female's kill. Cheetah leads the cubs away. Adult males will occasionally attack cubs, and even though he's their father, she's not willing to take any chances. As the sun begins to sink, the family position themselves at the edge of the forest. Ojas has the perfect view of tussling Cheetah and courting peacocks. The male's elaborate plumage is designed to win him a mate. Only the most colourful and well-endowed males stand a chance. The fussy female barely notices his efforts. All dressed up with nowhere to go. Monkeys settle to roost in the treetops, one of the last pleasant evenings of spring. The scorching heat of summer is on its way. Within a month, the temperatures are soaring above 40 degrees. Staying at altitude where it's a little cooler, Cheetah and her cubs are feeding. Meat doesn't last long in the heat, and this carcass is already fly-ridden and rotting, but tigers don't seem to mind. Charger, the male, patrols his territory as always, and is heading towards the family's resting place. Though they don't spend much time together, Cheetah and Charger have been mates for several years. The old male's grumbles reveal his interests. He's freeloading again, intent on stealing their lunch. Obediently, Cheetah moves out of the way. But her cubs carry on feeding oblivious. In the harsh summer months, food is hard to come by, but this could put them in grave danger. The males 5 times their size. It would not be unusual for the male to attack. But amazingly, Charger doesn't attack. He joins them for dinner. It's very unusual for cubs to meet their fathers like this. Charger's tolerance is unique. Though he doesn't hang around for long, just taking a snack with him. Inquisitive as ever, Ogus decides it would be a good idea to follow his father. Charger's a bit taken aback by this bold approach, but allows his son to settle and drink. The girls wait nearby. But Ogus doesn't want to leave his father's side. He seems excited by his new role model. His sisters aren't impressed. When Charger moves on, Ogus once again follows him. But this was a mistake. With large strides, Charger is soon out of sight, leaving Ogus alone in the forest. Suddenly realizing he's lost. Ogus pleads for help, but there's no answer. Langurs bark in fear of the tiny cat. But their alarm calls allow Cheetah to track him down. The worried little cub is reunited just in time as darkness falls. Dusk is a very active time for the creatures of the forest. In the cool evening light, deer emerge to quench their thirst. The Cheetahs are on high alert walking through the long grass. They know it can conceal great dangers. Cheetah has set a trap. The grass is so tall that the female tiger can creep close to her prey, and the deer can't see a thing. Cheetah is just meters away. But despite her concealment, she's spotted. Only 1 in 10 tiger attacks ends in a kill. But in the chaos, she's caused an opportunity for another predator. The huge python has snatched a young Cheetah. Her muscular coils have throttled the fawn, and now, by dislocating her jaws, she's able to swallow her catch whole. She'll be munching long into the night to swallow her massive meal. After this, she'll need to sit for weeks, allowing the meal to digest. But later, under the cover of night, Cheetah had better luck. A Cheetah. Dawn finds Ogus looking longingly for his mother. They are not old enough to join her on a hunt yet. All they can do is watch the monkeys as they soak up the morning sun. Deer and monkeys scatter as Mum returns to pick up the kids. She leads them out into the elephant grass where she's stashed the kill. The cubs fight over breakfast, though, as usual, Abhaya wins. Tigers spend around 18 hours a day sleeping, and today is no exception. This respite gives the deer a chance to relax and bathe to cool off from the blistering sun. A langur mother gives her baby an accidental baptism. Though at least it will keep the little one cool. The hot air creates thermals, allowing heavy-bodied vultures to soar over the forest. Their eagle eyes are quick to spot Cheetah's kill through the covering of long grass. Their descent again alerts Charger to an easy meal. He boldly marches, scent marking his territory as he goes. With a big male tiger in residence, other males will stay well clear. But Charger takes a detour. Instead of driving the vultures off the kill, he visits Cheetah and the cubs. The two adults share a friendly head rub. Ogus is fascinated. Confident as ever, he joins his dad. It's almost unheard of for tiger cubs to have any sort of relationship with their father, but Charger seems to enjoy the company. He even puts up with a bit of playful batting. Despite the excitement of his new father-son relationship, Ogus is still a mummy's boy at heart. Charger moves on to see what the vultures have left behind. Thunder announces the arrival of the monsoon. Four months of rain will relieve animals and replenish the landscape. Rivers burst their banks, and pythons are flushed out into the open. All predators, whether tiger or snake, get the same treatment from langurs. They hail its arrival, making it very difficult for the python to hunt. Cheetah has taken the cubs to higher ground, where it's a bit drier. And in the cover of an old ruin, the cubs enjoy her latest prize, a full-grown male cheetah. Again, Abhaya has taken over the kill and practices her killing techniques. No one's told her not to play with her food. The troublesome threesome are growing fast and need to up their game. They just have 1 year left of tiger school. After that, they'll need to provide for themselves. Ojas is as curious as ever and is finally starting to spend more time away from his mother. But sometimes his explorations can result in surprise encounters. The tigers live in a national park and from time to time have human visitors. For safety, tourists arrive on the backs of giant creatures that Ojas can't help but investigate. Even elephants can be annoyed, and this one makes its feelings quite clear. Abhaya joins in the hunt. Ojas tires of tormenting the giant and returns to look for his mother. On a hot day, the forest animals make their way to drink. A large sounder of wild boars are among the regulars. Little do they know that their return path is being blocked by a hungry tiger. Cheetah has snatched a young boar and wounded it, but she won't kill it. The cubs return to find meals on wheels. If they want to eat it, they'll have to figure out how to kill it first. This is Cheetah's attempt at encouraging independence. Wild boars are tough and have razor-sharp tusks. They require careful handling. Abhaya gets the boar in a stranglehold, the teeth locked into its neck. Cheetah sits back and allows the cubs to feed on their well-earned meal. Their first taste of hunting was a success. As winter approaches, the tiger cubs reach 1 year old. They are getting bigger, but they still freeload off their mother. It's not always easy for her to catch deer, so sometimes unusual meals are offered up. It's the python. Snakes are not a favorite food, but this huge female snake was pregnant, and Cheetah makes short work of the tasty unlaid eggs. The sisters aren't impressed, Abhaya taking it out on Leela as usual. But Ojas is willing to try something new. is followed by a nice cooling dip. Ogus settles next to his mother. Here, Hyena can hunt for frogs. Not much of a challenge, but at least the inklings of hunting behavior are showing through. The family are being watched. Cheetah's territory borders those of several females, but the landlords seldom meet. Ogus moves to greet the newcomer. But he's not given a friendly welcome. He doesn't take the hint. The stranger has chased our little tiger into her territory and cut him off from his mother, Cheetah. Ogus makes a dash to his mother's side. The cubs must learn to identify and respect their neighbors' boundaries. As the seasons turn, many of the forest trees blossom. Their sweet nectar draws birds, and for a while, even the crows stop spying on tigers to cash in on the flowers. The langurs too are drawn to the feast, tightrope walking to get to the flowering branches. Luckily, they are messy eaters, and flowers that the deer struggle to reach are dropped to the ground. The season of riches is soon over. Once the flowers have gone, the animals disperse and the predators must work harder to find them. It's the cubs' second birthday. They are almost old enough to leave home. Ogus hangs out alone, while disputes between his sisters are becoming frequent. Though they should be capable hunters by now, these three are still happy to lounge about in the water while Cheetah does all the work. The large sambar are alert. They can sense danger even though they can't see her. The patchwork of shadows could make it easier for Cheetah to slip in, were it not for the deer's companions in the trees. The ever-watchful langurs won't hesitate to sound the alarm. Cheetah keeps trying. Her lazy teenagers are waiting to be fed. The deer hear something, but can't see it. They panic, not sure which way to run, giving Cheetah the opportunity she needs. Cheetah struggles to move the huge carcass out of sight. Though she might be too late. Under cover, Cheetah bolts what she can, but she won't be able to enjoy the fruits of her labor for long. Ogus is first on the scene, though he doesn't get the normal warm reception. Cheetah is pushing the cubs to leave home, though it seems they are not taking the hint. As usual, the kids get their way. Ogus steals the kill. Just as Cheetah settles to sleep, Leela arrives. The feeding cubs have an audience. Vultures and crows wait patiently to clean up the scraps. The cubs must learn to hide their food from these keen-eyed scavengers. Cheetah shows them how to drag it into the undergrowth. When they've had their fill, she positions the carcass in the shade and rakes dirt and leaves to try and mask the shape, concealing it from prying eyes. Ogus doesn't seem quite ready to leave it just yet. When he does return to Mother, he gives her a fright. But seems quickly forgiven. Abhaya has started exhibiting some interesting behavior. She claws a tree. Scent glands between the toes leave a pungent signal in the scratch marks. For the first time, she is marking her territory. A misty dawn promises to turn into a scorcher. Peacocks herald the new day. Abhaya is practicing her hunting skills on her long-suffering sister. She's the most advanced of the litter. Ogus just rolls around playfully in front of his mother, one child that doesn't want to grow up. There are game animals all around them. But Cheetah is not showing any interest in hunting. She's had enough of fending for four. Ogus licks at her. This is like a kid demanding food from his mother, a subtle hint that it's time to hunt. But hunting is futile. There are langurs everywhere ready to sound the alarm. And to make matters worse, Cheetah is being followed by Ogus, not the most subtle of hunters. Barking monkeys send the troops, as well as the herds of deer, running in panic. But in the chaos, a baby loses its grip. Distress calls from the trees draw Ogus's attention. Ogus sees an easy meal. But not as easy as he thinks. Cheetah ignores his pleas for help. This tiny body is more trouble than it's worth. Abhaya is working on a more direct approach. The langurs were too busy watching Cheetah and Ogus. and had missed the tiger in the shadows. Like a pro, she bites the throat. It's an instant death. Abhaya tucks into her first self-catered meal, but it may come at a cost. This is the cue Mother has been waiting for. Cheetah has had enough. Her cubs have all the skills they need. They are just too lazy to use them. If they won't leave her, then she'll leave them. She spells it out. They are not to follow. Ojas is dumbstruck as he watches his mother depart. Abhaya comforts her sister. She seems least concerned at this great change in their lives, and once again proclaims this forest her own. Once Cheetah has gone and the cubs settle, a new peace descends on the forest. Langurs and Cheetah emerge to quench their thirst. Young bucks practice sparring, much to the concern of a young monkey. It's a tranquil scene for now, but from the shadows, eyes watch the herd's every move. The young tigers are starting to realize their ability to be invisible. They are taking increasing interest in the animals that come and go to drink. Abhaya is on the move. Langurs play around the grazing Cheetah. And Sambar bathe. All are relaxed and unaware of the approaching danger. Abhaya's childhood swimming lessons have paid off. Triumphantly, she returns with her first big kill. Leela and Ojas make their way to greet her. It seems that some of the lessons Cheetah gave them did sink in. The cubs try to conceal the carcass under a tree to stop vultures from spotting it. But it's not enough to escape Charger's eyes. While the cubs sleep off their meal, he sneaks in. To begin with, the cubs barely notice. The male is old and worn out from days of mating. He struggles to drag the large carcass away. But then Ojas spots his father. This father and son have always been close, but now things have changed. Cheetah has gone, and the cubs need to protect their hard-won meal. Ojas follows the big male. For the first time in his life, he plays the man of the house and sticks up for his family. He's welcomed back by his sisters. Their food saved, the cubs can relax and play. The three tigers will all need to go their separate ways, but for the next few months they will stick together, helping each other to develop their skills. Cheetah was a good mother, and once the youngsters were forced to fend for themselves, they had proved their worth. For her, the tiger troubles are over, and for Ojas and his sisters, a new chapter begins. Lion Rock proudly stands in a sea of grass. This is home to the Nakuru pride. From her vantage point, Scarface, so called for her distinctive features, can survey her domain. She's 12 years old, the oldest family member, but in this family it's not females that call the shots. Her daughters, Tamu and Kali, are being followed by the brothers, two young males that reign over the pride. As is the way in lion society, the males follow the females, knowing that they will soon be in season, ready to take their self-appointed mating rights. In lion terms, the deal is simple. Males get mating rights and free access to the food that the females hunt. In return, they give protection to the lionesses and their cubs. At least, that's the theory. Scarface announces a get-together. Lions are very social, with females spending their whole lives together caring for the family. Scarface bears her worn-out old teeth. Without her daughters, she'd struggle to survive. The trio are closely bonded and will all take care of one another's cubs. Life will be good for them, as long as the brothers hold up their end of the bargain and don't let them down. In addition to the 2 males and 3 females, there are 8 cubs, 4 boys and 4 girls. They are dubbed the grandkids. Not yet fully grown, they are almost as big as their parents, but definitely still young at heart. The family lives in one of the richest corners of Africa, surrounded by big game in Kenya's Nakuru National Park. They could have any prey species they want, but they have just one favorite. Warthogs. She may not be the most beautiful lady on the savannah, but this is one dedicated granny. In fact, great-granny. This is her daughter, her granddaughter, and now the 4th generation, all living under one roof. Similar to the lion family, Any females in these litters will stay on in the family residence to help raise future young. Close bonds have already been formed. The females have been spending some time apart lately, giving birth in privacy. But now that their hoglets are 3 weeks old, they join forces again and allow the babies to explore the outside world for the first time. The hoglets want to investigate everything, but curiosity is a dangerous trait. In the Nakuru Pride, the grandkids are being led on hunting practice. Already the grandsons are behaving like their fathers and letting the females do all the work. Scarface is head teacher. They can't rush. They need to pace themselves to avoid being spotted too early. One hoglet's short life is over. Scarface, the old female, needs to eat, but she allows her offspring to eat first. No such manners from the grandsons. They barge their sisters out of the way and take over the tiny kill. The little body won't go far, and the pride will soon be back for more. Time and time again they pursue the tiny treats, especially near the fence that surrounds their reserve. Here, the warthogs are trapped. They are so specialist, they even know how to hunt subterranean warthogs. It's unusual for lions to dig, but in this pride, Scarface teaches the cubs how it's done. The adolescent cubs draw out the excavation for the terrified hoglet below. Such is life for the pigs of the plains. Grandma gathers together the survivors. All predators eat warthogs. That's partly why they have such large and fast-growing families, to compensate for the losses. However, there is more to warthogs than meets the eye. They work hard to stay alive. Less than a month old, they are already learning how to stick up for themselves. Warthogs have guts. These 3 sows had babies last year. The yearlings had to move out during the arrival of the latest litter, but now, as the hoglets grow, the females are welcomed back. The males from this older litter now need to move on. Warthogs are matriarchal. Mum calls the shots. The females are in charge here. quite different from life in the lion pride. It's tough living in the shadow of lions, but it's compensated for by the lush green landscape of the Nakuru National Park, 180 square kilometers of pig paradise. At its heart, Lake Nakuru, a vast soda lake, supports huge flocks of flamingos and other bird life. Amid the flocks, the young male warthogs find a great place to hang out. Once they are weaned, they are forced to leave home and so form bachelor parties. Not the most masculine setting with all that pink plumage, but it's where male warthogs get together. In fact, it's a beauty parlor for the boys. Though the lake itself is corrosive due to high salt levels, it's fed by clear spring water that keeps the banks lined with mud, cleaning the warthog's skin and acting as a sunscreen and insect repellent too. Around the shore, bulls of all ages sunbathe and graze. The younger males gather to admire a veteran's fine set of tusks. These impressive weapons can reach 9 inches in length. But it's not just male warthogs that enjoy these lush plains. Young bachelor lions patrol in search of new territory. Having left their pride in the north, they have moved south through the park, crossing lion borders as they look for a new home. They are not traveling alone. The two are brothers from the same litter, but they have joined forces with a slightly older male. They have formed a coalition. The only way these youngsters stand a chance of getting females is if they work together and use their combined strength to take over a pride. Close bonds have been formed between them. This must constantly be reinforced. Any chink in the armor could spell disaster when they are in battle. Scarface and the Nakuru pride are still some way off. They have no idea that the bachelors are heading their way. But right now, the pride's running into even bigger trouble. Lions and buffalo go head to head. Buffalo are often considered the most dangerous animals in Africa. In some areas, buffalo make up a large proportion of a lion's diet, but for some reason the Nakuru pride don't hunt them. In fact, it sometimes seems the other way around. The pride tries to stand their ground, but a herd of horned heavyweights would make anyone run. Scarface gets left behind and bolts for safety. How embarrassing to have to escape from your lunch. Her position is precarious to say the least, only just out of reach from the deadly horns. Buffalo will kill predators when they get the chance. They are intelligent and persistent. Even the sandpaper-like rough tongue can't quite bring the lion within reach. Still, best keep your feet up. Only as the sun sets do the buffalo finally move off, leaving a very stiff old lioness to go in search of her family. The Warthog family also has regular encounters with unfriendly neighbors. Jackals love nothing more than baby pig and persistently try to catch the sounder off guard. However, they are no match for an adult warthog, and Grandma is quick to see the interloper off. This is a cunning predator that won't easily give in. Quick-witted, it does its best to break up the family. While Grandma pursues the jackal, her daughter ushers the nearest hoglets to the safety of the den. But it's not enough. The wild dog grabs a baby. One of the challenges with having a big family is that you can't be everywhere at once. Back in the Nakuru pride, and the two brothers check in on the lionesses. They can sense hormones that show that both daughters are in heat. One shadows Kali, the other woos Tamu. Kali's playing hard to get. Far heavier and less agile, it's harder for the male to get up there, but she's not going to get away that easily. Tamu seems more obliging and allows herself to be pampered. Still, Kali's not going to give in just yet, leaving the male out on a limb. Tamu will mate every hour or so for the next few days. It may not be long before the pride hears the patter of tiny paws. The brother decides to have one more attempt at seduction and makes another pass at Kali. Looks like a definite no. She's not in the mood tonight. Male warthogs are more orderly when it comes to mating. Once the daughters come into season, the finest boars from the lakeside arrive to try and win her over. It's the younger of the mothers this time. And a particularly dashing boar with impressive tusks will follow her for days to keep less deserving males away. He chomps his chat-up lines on her doorstep, but he knows the rules. This is a lady's chamber, and he must wait outside. A challenger arrives and starts posturing. The suitor clicks his teeth as a warning. This sow is taken. The two males circle each other, trying to assess who has the biggest tusks. The newcomer is clearly smaller, and in the warthog world, size does matter, so he backs down to avoid a fight. He is so diligent that he spends all night sleeping above her den, exposed to the freezing night air, but always ready to defend his honor. He hears the object of his desire stirring in her chamber, and even after his all-night vigil, he sweetly serenades her. How could a girl resist? She surrenders to her devoted suitor, but their romance is to be short-lived. With so many females around, boars are arriving in droves. This is where the warthog's distinguished features come into play. The warts are actually built-in body armor to protect their eyes during sparring. It's mostly posturing and a lot of hot air. The boars know it's better to try and talk it out rather than get into a serious fight. Warthogs will fight to the death. It's a dangerous time for the boars. With only one thing on their minds, looking out for predators comes low on their list of priorities. But messing with a mature warthog is something any sane animal would think very carefully about. She's lucky. It's only a skin wound, but for a few weeks it will be hard to join the dots. The lions would do well to heed the leopard's warning. They too want to cash in on the warthog's preoccupation. Carly is a warthog specialist. She's hunted these pigs for years, but even she can misjudge a boar's razor-sharp teeth. Warthog's tusks self-sharpen. It's cut clean through her muscle. She can barely limp away. A wound like this could easily cost Carly her life. Other Pride members can help her. Will she survive? Back at the tranquility of the waterhole. The only action being the slow-motion wrestling of giraffes. Once their breeding season is over, the male warthogs return to their usual hangout to recuperate in the sun. But this time, they are being watched. After her last disastrous encounter, the leopard seems to be eyeing up younger boars with smaller tusks. Unlike lions, leopards work alone. She's such a master of camouflage and stealth that she goes undetected even in the open grass. Gets unbelievably close. Amazingly, despite being feet away, she wasn't able to grip the muscular pig. One last try. A pelican is a very rare catch for a leopard, but at least it doesn't have tusks. On the mudflats exposed by a receding lake, dust clouds gather in the searing heat. Gradually, the landscape is drying up. It's a difficult time for plant eaters, and many of the antelope must move in search of fresh grazing. But the adaptable warthogs are well equipped to cope. Their tough noses allow them to plow through the soil, exposing nutritious bulbs and roots. Patches of shade are in high demand. Jackals know not to mess with hot hogs. The jackals now have large pups. They are bolder now, but so are the hoglets. Fed up with being hounded, no one in this family is going to be intimidated. Not even the babies. The pack is sent packing. They'll need to make alternative plans for lunch. The rains haven't arrived, escalating a hot summer into a lethal drought. Now the full extent of the warthog's survival skills become clear. As antelope succumb to the lack of grass, the warthogs expand their largely vegetarian diet with meat. And where other animals struggle to find fresh water, the warthog family use their tusks to sink boreholes down to the water table. Their resourcefulness will provide for many of the other inhabitants of Nakuru. Not all of the warthogs will make it, but thanks to them, many other animals do. Luckily for the survivors, the weather is changing. The life-giving rains quickly replenish the lake, much to the relief of its inhabitants. There are a few patches of shelter and some animals that really don't like being caught out in the rain. The lush landscape is restored, and starving warthogs make a pig of themselves on the fresh grass. In fact, there is so much water now that the warthogs find themselves with some very large neighbors. The Nakuru buffalo will stand up to lions, but what about hippos? The two species most commonly listed as Africa's most deadly stand face to face. Time to get out of the way. They are well matched in size, but little can compete with the hippo's 4-foot mouth and 3-foot tusks. Rain brings changes for all the families of Nakuru. Lions are not big fans of getting wet. Still, the grandsons are young enough to make the most of it with a game of tag. That's not much of an umbrella. Like it or not, the rain's a relief. And in the time of plenty that follows, Tamu uses the fresh growth as cover to deliver a new litter of cubs. She'll keep the two tiny infants concealed between the boulders of Lion Rock until they are larger and less vulnerable to predators. Out on the plains, her sister Carly reveals that despite her devastating injuries, she has survived the rain season. However, she still limps badly and has only been able to last this long thanks to the support of the other females in the pride. Now it's up to Scarface and the other females to bring home the bacon. She drops the piglet and goes for another. The first was a gift to her daughter, an easy meal to keep her going. With these handouts, her chances of recovery are good. It seems that the pride is on a winning streak, growing from day to day. But just a few miles to the north, trouble is brewing. As sun breaks on a misty morning, a dark cloud looms over Lion Rock. There's an air of anticipation. The three bachelor males are around 5 years old, just coming into their prime and ready to take over pride. A gentle breeze carries the smell of danger to Lion Rock and the pride males. The brothers are quick to respond. But it's going to take more than roaring to stop the advancing troop. The sight of the three intruders stops the brothers dead in their tracks. Can they protect their pride? The invading lion bachelors show no sign of stopping. The trio make for an intimidating sight. The Pride brothers show their true colors. They turn to run. They will never be seen by the Nakuru Pride again. It's not a bad decision on their part. 3 against 2 is a fight they can't win, and lions will kill to take over the throne. But it leaves the females alone and unguarded. Under the cover of darkness, they strike. As the newcomers proclaim their victory over Lion Rock, the rest of the pride faces an uncertain future. Tamu looks for a hiding place for her cubs, but it's too little, too late. She is powerless to stop their destruction. In just one night, the Nakuru pride is transformed. The cubs are dead. The 4 grandsons have run for their lives, and now the 7 remaining females anxiously await their fate. The 2-year-old females have never met new males. They are curious, yet scared at the same time. The irony is that the males are now in the same boat. Female lions mature faster than males, and now both are reaching adulthood. Though they confidently conquered the pride, the bachelors have never mated before and are not too sure what they should do next. It looks like they may have to work on their chat-up lines. With lack of experience on both sides, there is confusion all round, and soon the sexual tension turns nasty. And this is where coalition bonds are tested. No lioness should come between mates, but the bachelors get caught up in the moment. Luckily, there is the voice of experience. Scarface has lived through takeovers before. She knows that it's better to embrace the changes than to try to fight them. It might be that this time they have males that will not turn fraidy cat at the first sign of trouble. Meanwhile, the grandsons that fled the pride reunite on the north shores of the lake. There should be 4 of them, but as they fled over 20 kilometers, they got separated. Now they call. Without a pride, they'll need to stick together. 3 arrive. The 4th is still missing. Unfortunately, these guttural roars carry for miles and alert the bachelors to their whereabouts. The bachelors are not yet done with their aggressive takeover. They have followed the grandsons. One bachelor goes on ahead, but confronted with 3 of the young males, he finds himself on the receiving end. The remaining grandson is caught alone. The bachelor is considerably larger, and the male will be lucky to escape with his life. A brother comes to his rescue, the distraction just giving him long enough to run for his life. In panic, the grandsons scatter. This fight's not over. The bachelor calls in reinforcements. The grandsons must get as far away as possible. But there is a boundary that none of them can avoid. The park's fence. Cornered in the forest at the park's boundary, there's a standoff.
Two grandsons stand up to a bachelor, but he's big enough to hold his ground. There's a brief stalemate, but bachelor backup is on the way. It's a grave situation for the grandsons, as another bachelor catches up. The groups are split up. This fight's 2 on 2, but the much smaller males are keen to avoid the beating. One of the grandsons has reached the fence, but he's trapped. There's nowhere to go. This fence has an electric shock strong enough to repel a rhino, but it's that or confront the bachelors. Apparently satisfied with the expulsion, the bachelors announce their victory as they head back to Lion Rock. Pride life soon calms down. Things have settled for the new look Nakuru Pride. The new males spend more time on the grassland than on the rocks, and the females willingly follow. They are now in season and ready to mate. The bachelors are maturing into gentlemen and tenderly get the females in the mood. Even Scarface. Killing the cubs was a brutal act, but it had the desired results, bringing the females into season and giving them a chance to father offspring of their own. By treating the females right, they now seem accepted as part of the family. There's one other thing. The bachelors have brought new feeding preferences. Having been raised on the grasslands to the north, they are used to large antelope prey, and the young females seem willing to meet their needs. It's not great for the local wildebeest and zebra, but there is another family that benefits from their loss. The warthogs. With the lions off their backs, the warthogs decide to make some home improvements. Most of the babies have survived and are growing, so it's time to expand. Like the young lions, male hoglets will be expected to leave home and roam in bachelor groups. But for now, they can enjoy family life. And it doesn't get more fun than this, a relaxing mud bath. Warthogs may not be classic beauties, but it's hard to deny their appeal. Playful, determined, and dedicated to family life, lions permitting. Outside of the reserve, the future of the estranged grandson looks bleak, but help is at hand. Wardens open a section of fence and drive him back in. The rest of his brothers are waiting for him. The four of them will likely spend the next few years together, staying well clear of the bachelors and other males. But they are now a coalition themselves, and when the time comes, they too will work together and take over a pride. And it seems that the rest of the lions have finally sorted out their act. The bachelor boys are holding up their end of the lion bargain and protecting the pride. They now have heirs to their thrones. All of the females have had cubs, even Scarface. Now at 14 years old, these two tiny cubs are likely to be her last. She'll leave a legacy. The future of Lion Rock and the Nakuru Pride is in safe hands. On a scorching African afternoon, the grasslands appear devoid of life. But a rocky outcrop in this sea of grass offers cool sanctuary to a family of cheetahs, Kirabo and her 3 cubs. Brother and sister Deo and Zuri chill out, but Jelani is the daredevil, never happy to sit still. He scrambles above his mother's head, drawn by the urge to chase lizards that sun themselves near the peak. It's good target practice for the young male, but at 6 months old he should be staying close to home. The plains are full of dangers. Distracted by the lizards, he moves further and further from his family. Kirabo is getting nervous and starts looking for him. Too late. Jelani realizes that he's lost. He calls to try to locate his mother, but is confused by the echoes. Kirabo can hear him, but can't seem to see him. From afar, he spots her searching in the wrong direction and tries to join her. But suddenly, his rocky playground has become an obstacle course. He searches for an easier way up. The grass is not a safe place for a little cheetah. Night falls. Jelani is still missing. Time to face the dangers of the dark. There is a host of larger predators on the plains. This time, it's hyenas on the prowl. The mother cheetah, standing watch over Deo and Zuri, calls into the night for Jelani, but there's no reply. Of all the big cats, cheetahs are the most heavily persecuted by other predators. It's likely that Jelani is lost to the hunters of the night. Kirabo must give up the search for her lost son. Her priority now is to protect the twins.
The cheetah family live in the Serengeti, a sea of grass that at certain times of the year teem with antelope and other big game. The cheetah's primary prey is the delicate and highly abundant Thompson's gazelle. They're easy to recognize with their bold diagonal stripe and constantly swishing tails. This is the time when the males have only one thing on their mind, finding a mate. And this is also when they are most at risk of attack, something the cheetahs will be looking out for. During their migration, the males stake out small patches of ground into which they will try to lure females. Large scent glands in front of the eyes are rubbed on grass stems, leaving a sticky and stinky message, a keep out sign to other males. The males are so preoccupied they don't notice a spotted cat watching from the grass. It's a lone female, Zola. Cheetahs stalk as close as they can, but their primary weapon is speed, up to 75 miles per hour. But Zola wasn't fast enough. Some predators hunt in packs, working together to bring down prey, but female cheetahs hunt alone. Zola is 2 years old and only recently away from her mother. She's still trying to get the hang of adult life, though clearly she's finding it tough. The gazelles follow her as she moves off. It might seem strange that a prey animal wants to be anywhere near a predator, but by keeping her in sight, the gazelles are making sure that they won't be taken by surprise. They stot, leaping to show off their fitness. Predators rarely target animals in their prime, they are too hard to catch. Proving how healthy you are is a good way to keep predators at bay. Zola's out of luck today. Gazelles are fast, alert and agile, not the easiest of prey. Kirabo and the twins are taking a siesta on the plains when they spot an intruder. Normally, the sight of another cheetah would cause concern, but it's Zola, still lonely and looking for company. She finds life tough without her mother and invites herself to tag along. Though female cheetahs, particularly those with cubs, are normally solitary, they do occasionally form temporary alliances. Deo and Zuri aren't too sure about having a new big sister. But Kirabo seems willing to allow Zola into the family. The cubs will just have to get used to it. The four of them will travel together, and before long they will leave the Serengeti plains, following game into the scrubland. Water is a valuable resource here. All animals must come to drink, and so predators hover on the lookout for an easy meal. Like most cats, cheetahs don't like water, but crossing these small puddles has become something of a game. But open water is scarce. The rains keep the grazing animals on the move, following the heavy clouds in search of greener pastures. By midsummer, the game is concentrated in the last lush valleys. Zola has remained with the family, and while the others sleep in the shade, she explores the rocks. Most cats have retractable and very sharp claws for gripping, but not cheetahs. Built for running rather than climbing, Zola demonstrates their shortcomings. Cheetahs have blunt claws like a dog, which are only semi-retractable, so they make mountaineering rather a challenge. Zola is determined to make it to the top again. Deo watches, fascinated. Even a narrow gap challenges the young female. She lacks the confidence to step out and put her best foot forward. Zuri's not interested in rock climbing and plays with her mother. Zola finally admits defeat and both explorers head back to the others. But Zola freezes in mid-step. A band of brothers. These three males are a coalition. All from the same litter, they have stayed together, working as a team to hunt and intimidate other cheetahs. Male cheetahs have been known to kill any competition. The family is in serious danger. They move in on Zola, Kirabo, and her twins. Kirabo tries to usher her family to safety, but it's too late. The larger brothers quickly encircle them. The family huddle together, sitting low to the ground, showing their submission. Kirabo has already lost one cub to predators and doesn't want to lose any more. Courageously, she sits between the youngsters and aggressive males. But the brothers find a patch of interesting scent and seem to forget about their captives. Kirabo is not in season, and the youngsters are too small to be a threat. It gives the anxious family their chance to escape. The cubs glance back. This is their first encounter with adult males, but one they will not forget. They have escaped the brothers' wrath this time, but they'll be back. As summer reaches its height, the plains are seared by the heat. Game animals are preparing to move on. But before they do, the male gazelles start advertising their tiny patches of overgrazed pasture. As the females pass across the grassland, they move between the males and their stakeouts. If a female enters his patch, then a buck has a chance of mating with her. Holding his plot and pleasing the ladies at the same time is hard work. Boundary disputes often result in fighting. The male's long horns are covered in ridges that can lock with their opponents. It's a bit like arm wrestling, with each buck trying to throw the other off balance. Mostly, it's just a test of strength, and the weaker animal eventually backs down. But sometimes the ridges in the horns fail to grip, resulting in fatal stabbings. A giraffe has stumbled upon a buck that lost such a fight. Having completed his lofty inspection, he leaves the carcass in peace. Gradually, the mating madness dies down, and the herds begin to move on in search of fresh grass. Now that the antelope have left their territory, the band of brothers are struggling to find large prey. They spot a hare. By working together, they are able to rally their quarry, driving it back and forth. They are a formidable team, but this small carcass won't last long, and the cheetahs will have to move on to find food. The last herds of antelope leave the plains. All predators, including Kirabo and the 3 young cheetahs, have to follow the game or risk starvation. For 6 months, this stretch of grassland will fall silent, until rain heralds the return of the grazers. Dust clouds stand out against a building storm. Eventually, after several months, there is a faint promise of rain. Called the light rains, the downpour will last only a few days. Puddles collect quickly on the tough-baked soil. Within days, fresh grass shoots paint the plains green, fresh vegetation that quickly attracts attention. The Thompson's gazelles, which escaped the worst of the dry season by sheltering in bush country to the east, now venture back onto the plains. Gradually, small groups unite, forming great herds of thousands. A rich bounty awaits them, meadows of fresh grass and flowers. And a cheetah isn't far behind, stalking the herds. She misses this time. Zola has returned, and now she's on her own again. An adult, but she still has a lot to learn. But not far behind, the twins Deo and Zuri return to the place of their birth. Over winter, they left their mother. Now 18 months old, they are completely self-sufficient, but still prefer to stick together. The twins have perfected the art of hunting, but Zola is still working on her technique. This time she has her eyes on the larger Grant's gazelle. She's forgetting that an antelope this size is capable of fighting back. She tried to bite off more than she could chew. But she got away without serious injury. For this young female, it's back to the drawing board. Just days after arriving, the female gazelles drop their fawns. The whole herd coordinates its breeding. If there are more babies than the predators can pick off, it will ensure that at least some of them will survive. The birth is dangerous for both mother and baby. Neither could run to escape danger, so they need to get it over and done with as quickly as possible. The mother's exhausted, but still fights to get to her baby. She needs to get it cleaned up, removing any clues about the birth that might draw attention, and then get the fawn to its feet before a predator spots them. It takes about 20 minutes for the baby to stand. It wobbles back and forth, trying to find its balance. Most fawns are running before they are an hour old, and they need to be. The mother's sharp eyes pick up a movement. They've been spotted. It's Zola, this time hoping for an easier catch. The fawn's so young that it has no chance of outrunning her. Maybe there's not enough sport in it for her. Zola doesn't make a kill, instead batting the baby. It's a bigger version of cat and mouse. She's just playing with her food. Its mother can only watch in alarm, powerless to save her infant. The confused fawn isn't sure how to react to its captor. Zola should have made the kill when she had the chance. Now, she's the one looking worried. The lioness knows that no cheetah can stand up to her superior size and strength. It's a saving grace for the gazelle fawn, which seizes the distraction and flees to its mother. A reprieve for the lucky fawn. Zola cowers, and for a short while even considers standing her ground. But against the queen of beasts, it's futile. The two female cats have a standoff, neither willing to turn its back or move away. Cheetahs are often killed by lions. The larger cats eliminate any competition for food. Zola is taking a massive risk. She's bold or naive enough to scull the lion, throwing her a nonchalant glance, but she makes the mistake of looking away. The lioness has made her point. But Zola's troubles aren't over. A bigger threat is heading her way. Tired and hungry, the band of brothers has just returned to the plains. They are not in a playful mood. Zola immediately changes her body language, holding low to the ground in submission. She tries to slip quietly away. The coalition has two courses of action. If they find a male cheetah, they will probably kill him. If they find a female, they will want to mate. The band of brothers quickly close in. She may survive their attack, but only if she plays by their rules. She crouches submissively. They make it very clear that they are in charge. Each time she moves, they move, surrounding her. Her yawn is an attempt to diffuse the tension. She's highly stressed. Eventually, she can't take it anymore and tries to leave. But this is insubordination, something that the brothers are just not willing to accept. She's not in season at the moment, but perhaps the brothers hope that by holding her captive for a few days, she might finally be ready to mate. Again, she tries to escape, but is forced to submit once more. But suddenly, the brothers reveal their immaturity. Something else has caught their eye. Having just arrived on the plains, the males are hungry, and a pair of jackals has discovered some easy prey. Jackals pair for life and can work together to hunt. The fawn is well within their capabilities, but what they hadn't counted on was the protective gazelle mother. Her short, stout horns are just enough to keep the pair on the move. The diligent mother has saved her fawn's life, but now the cheetah brothers are joining in the hunt. The adults in the herd see them coming and scatter. But in the chaos, a fawn is left behind. This is the perfect setup for a cheetah. Flat open plains where a successful hunt comes down to speed. They are the fastest land animals. The fawn doesn't stand a chance. The brothers are quick to take turns in pursuing the prey. However, they are not so willing to share once they've caught it. Each stubbornly snatches what it can. The small body won't last them long. But it's long enough for beaten and bruised Zola to make her escape. Taking advantage of the shade, the twins, Deo and Zuri, have returned to the rocks they used to play on as cubs. They no longer have their mother's watchful eye, but the bond between them remains strong. Oblivious in their sanctuary, the twins are unaware of a deadly threat approaching. The brothers are on the prowl. Any male that stands in their way will be in serious trouble. Luckily, these rocks are not the same ones that the twins are on. The formations, known as koppies, are used by all of the predators of the plains to scan the environment. The brothers scent mark so that other cheetahs that visit this koppie will know who else is in the area. It will serve as a warning to other males. The twins' resting place is in plain sight, but luckily the brothers haven't spotted them, thanks to the cover of trees. The twins are using the shade to their advantage, giving themselves a bit of respite before their next hunt. This lookout's ideal. There is even a grooming service. Agamid lizards that amused them as cubs now pick irritating flies from the cheetah's fur. Deo, frustrated by the flies, is finding it hard to settle, but staying awake may save his life. He spots the brothers. Silently, he leads his sister down the far side of the rocks to escape unnoticed. Just minutes later, and the brothers have arrived at their rock. They quickly pick up a fresh scent. All over the rocks are traces of the twins. Deo's scent seems to have got the brothers riled. Aggressively, they overspray his marks. They are the dominant males in this stretch of grassland, and they will make sure everyone knows it. This is a copy takeover. But their desire to claim the rocks as their own has given the twins the time they needed to escape, and now they are out of sight. The gazelle fawns are growing quickly. To build their strength, they dash about within the safety of the herd. Mother and fawn find each other through their calls and scent. A doe will suckle only her own fawn and repels any youngsters that approach the wrong mum. The fawns dance around the adult males. Eventually, they will grow horns to rival his, if they live long enough. At this precocious age, the fawns are still at great risk of attack. April is the season of showers. January's downpour was known as the light rains. The dark clouds now building over the plains are anything but light. The band of brothers is restless. One shadows the other as they rise. The brothers are so close that they share moods, enabling them to hunt in synchrony. But there will be no hunting until the first wave of storms has hit. The twins hunker down beneath the ominous skies. The brothers are heading their way, but their progress is brought to an abrupt halt as the black clouds overhead finally burst. It's not particularly comfortable being caught out in the open in this downpour, but this sudden shower may have saved the twins' lives. For 2 hours, all the cheetahs and the other inhabitants of the plains are drenched. Eventually, golden light pierces the clouds and tranquility descends. Animals are on the move again. The twins become playful as they dry off. The gazelles are stotting, leaping to show off their stamina and strength. Despite the relaxed atmosphere on the plains, the brothers are preparing to move once more. Their presence is a constant threat to cheetahs and gazelles alike. The landscape is transformed overnight. A sea of noise rumbles through the mist, and slowly shadows emerge. One of the world's greatest wildlife spectacles is unfolding. Wildebeest are pouring into the plains, following the rains as they have for millennia. Thousands become hundreds of thousands, a seemingly endless procession of grunting, nodding wildebeest looking for fresh grazing. The brothers are high up, eyeing the new arrivals with keen interest. Before long, over 1 million animals have gathered in their narrow valley. For the predators, it's the start of a time of plenty. Like the gazelles, the wildebeest time their breeding to perfection. Millions of babies are all delivered within the space of 3 weeks. The tiny calves are nudged to their feet within minutes. For their first wobbly weeks, they will be marched back and forth. The life of a wildebeest is one of constant wandering, endlessly following the rain and the fresh grass it brings. New nomads begin their ceaseless march. The herds graze, big bulls and mothers with their calves. For the brothers, it's one huge buffet. But this food doesn't come for free. They must work carefully to select the right prey, one that won't fight back. They are looking for the old, injured, or young. Wildebeest will defend herd members, but that's where the brothers have an advantage. While one clings to the struggling calf, the others can keep the dangerous adults at bay. The row of bulls with their menacing horns unnerves the brothers. They nervously hold their tails between their legs, but the tactics work. The adults seem to sense the calf's demise and leave the brothers to their meal. In this vast open grassland, the drama of a kill seldom goes unnoticed. Nothing escapes the vulture's sharp eyes. Even from 10 miles away, they see the opportunity and descend. This is bad news for the brothers. The birds dropping in from the sky can be seen from miles around. It could alert other predators to the carcass. The brothers tuck in, eating as fast as they can before they're discovered. With their heads down, they don't notice another cheetah's approach. It's Zola. Perhaps she's still struggling to live alone and looking for an easy meal. Despite her previous close encounter, the young female presses on looking for food. To begin with, the brothers are reluctant to stop feeding and risk losing their meal to the birds. But her calls are a disturbance that they are not willing to tolerate. Savagely, they put Zola in her place. The opening the vultures have been looking for. Battered and bruised, Zola tries to stagger off. But this lack of submission is a mistake. Zola is in big trouble. If the young female had sat tight and let the 3 cheetah brothers stay in control, she might have got off lightly. But she tried to escape, the worst mistake she could make. She sits and pleads, but it's too late. She's not ready to breed, so to the brothers she's nothing more than competition for food. But luckily, the attack is over quickly. The brothers' stomachs are still bulging from their meal, and once they have beaten Zola into complete submission, they let her go. It's a lesson she won't forget. The twins have managed to keep out of the way of the brothers so far, but now they have some equally dangerous visitors. Seeking shade, they headed to the rocks, but discovered that their favorite copy has been taken over by hyenas. Hyenas are twice the cheetah's size, fast and muscular, with the most powerful jaws in Africa. The hyenas are gathered around the remains of a carcass, probably one that they killed themselves. With their bone-crushing jaws, not even the large skull or spine will go to waste. The twins are desperate for shade, but they can't risk a clash. They move away to sleep. The dusty herds never seem to rest, constantly on the move, cropping the grass as quickly as it can grow. The wildebeest calves are bigger and stronger, but still shadow their mothers. Amazingly, mother and young can pick out one another's calls amid the din. This coordination is vital. The plains are full of peril, but inevitably some calves still get lost. With such riches gathered in their valley, the band of brothers hunt as often as they can, cashing in on the abundance. They spot a wildebeest calf that strayed from the herd. The three simultaneously drop to the ground. The inexperienced youngster walks straight past them. Now they can use its blind spot to their advantage. Cheetahs catch their prey by tripping it with a large claw on their front leg. They need to try and get it in a stranglehold so they can suffocate their victim. The wildebeest calves have grown, and the youngster is bigger and stronger than they are. It takes two of the brothers to restrain it. The third needs to keep the sharp-horned adults at bay. Still, the calf puts up an impressive fight. But once on the ground, the calf's struggle seems to be futile. But it gets a momentary reprieve. Hyenas, one problem the brothers don't want to have to deal with. They are forced to abandon their prize. The feisty calf makes a dash for it. But it's already tired and injured. It's too good an opportunity for the hyenas to miss. They give chase. As fatigue sets in, the calf has little choice than to face its attackers. It's a brave defense, but the unfortunate wildebeest is outnumbered. The band of brothers can only watch as the hyenas benefit from their hard work. And inevitably, the hunt has been seen by the plains undertakers. They gather in procession, waiting to take charge of the carcass. There is fierce competition. The birds must simultaneously fight with each other while avoiding the hyena's deadly jaws. When the hyenas have had their fill, the birds claim the corpse. Tired from the chase, hungry and defeated, the brothers move on. Woe betide anyone in their path. Wildebeest bulls fringe the herd, monitoring their departure. The twins, Deo and Zuri, have chosen a bad resting place. They doze off, oblivious to the danger. They are directly in the brothers' path. Deo spots them. Knowing the danger, he slinks, body close to the ground, to get closer to his sister. They are exposed with nowhere to hide. All they have is each other. They are smaller, younger, and outnumbered. As the intimidating approach quickens, the twins sink low into the grass. The aggression is aimed at Deo, a male and therefore a threat. He lunges to his sister's side. The brothers mean to kill. They are targeting Deo's sensitive rear and throat. Fur flies, but suddenly Zuri pipes up. It's almost as if the brothers had forgotten about the presence of the female. The attack pauses, and they turn their attentions to the anxious sister. She calls submissively, keeping low and letting the brothers take charge. They sniff around her, checking to see if she is ready to mate. The twins are hostage, but perhaps they've learned from past experience. They don't challenge the brothers, they don't even twitch a muscle. They just wait to see the next move. Remarkably, the brothers slope off. Perhaps they recognize that the female is too young to breed. For whatever reason, the attack is over. With a final menacing glance, they seem to say, "We'll be back." The brothers have proved their point and now return to their patrol. But for now, the danger has passed. The twins regroup, Zuri licking her brother's wounds. They are shaken, but alive. If Deo had been found alone, the brothers would certainly have killed him. But the twins' strong union has saved his life. They have spent their first season together as adults. They'll need to go their separate ways and seek out mates. But now, they can support one another. As the grass dries out, the vast herds of game begin their long migration. The twins will travel together as the season draws to a close, returning to the bush country. They will likely return separately next year, old enough to hold their own and stand up to the brothers' reign. The twins have matured, now fully fledged predators of the plains.